Okay, well here's a post-mortem video on the 2002 Pontiac Grand Prix oil pan. I had originally fixed it with JB Weld, as you can see here, and in the corner over here, because I thought it was leaking pretty bad. It had received some sort of trauma anyway and was leaking, so I tried to patch it, but ultimately due to all this flaking rust and such, it was really hard to patch it and tell where the bad was. So, the reveal. I was right about the corner. There's a lot of bubbled rust right here. Now it looks brand new inside and nice and shiny. That's because obviously it rots from the outside in. So there's still lots of good metal here, although it may not be very strong. There are some rust bubbles right here in the center, which I barely patched. But right over here apparently was where it was the worst. And I did put a little bit on the corner there, but obviously I should have concentrated more of my effort on that side. All the other sides, all the other parts seem to be fine. But there could be a hole here, but the metal's chipped, it is rusty. Ditto on this corner though, it is really gone. So let me get a screwdriver, see if I can poke at that. Yeah, it's very flaky, the paint's toast, although honestly it doesn't seem that bad. It's just really flaky paint, but that's the beginning of the end for this part. It's not really brittle like breakthrough brittle, but you only need a pinhole for hot oil to start getting through here. And over in the center part over here, again, it only seems like, well, looks like there's a pinhole right there. There's definitely a hole right there. So that might have been where I had impacted something and it actually rusted through, because there is a hole right there. And that's where my most oil, so it might have been seeping over here. Looks like there might be a little something. Scraping, it looks pretty good. You know, it's good metal. But over here, there's definitely rust all the way through. And that is definitely a hole of some sort. On the other side, we are looking at approximately right here. So this is right where our hole was. You know, you're not going to be able to drive anything through. There's still enough integrity there, even though you've got flakes of metal that can come off. You can see some of it's even being, I bet you a lot of that JB Weld's being held on by that. Yeah. That whole layer of metal just kind of skims right off. So that's why JB Weld isn't a great fix on these pans, is because you don't really have a good foundation to bond to. You just have to end up putting layer over layer, and then that's really no good. So that's why it kept on kind of dripping, just because there's not any good metal. In hindsight, probably scraping it down, which is scary on an oil pan, scraping it right down to this last metal. It's a very thick pan, so there's lots of metal to play with, so you probably could get away with it. But my hole's right around here, and you can see it's wet here from where, you know, it's been leaking. That was where it continued to go. I can peel that off. But I can't peel that off, so that's on tight. But I think the hole's right around there. So digging around with my screwdriver, I was able to lift up all this metal here. So it's very laminated metal, obviously. Not a lot of rust over here, although it did separate, you know, kind of easily. But there's a big rust hole here, rusty area, and what I found out without even having to push too hard is, if you can see, there's a hole right there. Hold it up a little better. You can actually see the hole right there, right through the pan. So that's definitely the hole. And then of course it would leak oil in the surrounding metal and out, and that's pretty much how it propagated around and through, and why you can't really patch it very well. It's because it's going to be everywhere. But it kind of just ate through the laminations, and probably started off with a chip at one point that got kind of deep and just spread through the layers, rusting everything out.